We are live.
We are live.
Welcome, everybody. I'm Ian Lavalley, and I'm here with Shasta Townsend. We're the creators of the income and intimacy equation. And this is the how to talk about money, sex, and more. And I believe today is going to be transformational for you. Today, Shasta and I will share 2 reasons why communication, especially about money and sex, is so challenging. And again, I believe today is going to be so transformational for you. So let us know who's here and chiming in from where. And if you're watching after the recording, hello and thank you. You're going to be here and watch all of this all the way to the end as we're going to share a live talk demo at the end. Shasta?
Hey everyone, this is Shasta Townsend, and thanks for being here today. This is actually our first live demo. So, excuse any technical glitches or awkwardness, but we really wanted to share these teachings with you. And I really, as Ian said, think today will actually be super transformational because communication is really the area where most of us struggle, not only in our marriage, but in all areas of our life. We can think we're good communicators, but we find out later what we thought we were saying was not heard. And as Ian said, we're going to talk about why talking about sex and money in particular is so friggin' challenging in our culture and, in any relationship. And as Ian said, you're going to want to stay right to the end because we're actually going to demonstrate a technique that we learned of how to actually be heard and ensure that you're actually being heard. So, we're so grateful again that you're here live. We see some live people here. So we'd love to hear. You can go to the bottom of your screen. You should see a little chat and just chime in, tell us where you're watching from and your name. And you can just put it right in the chat at the bottom. And we'll just give everyone a second or two to get online. We are chiming in from Canada, and it's a very gray day here. It's the first day of spring, but not so sunny yet. So hopefully spring is coming.
And we're totally ready for some flowers and greenery.
We sure are.
Yeah.
We sure are. Well, let's start because we want to be, again, this is about a 20 to 30 minute live demo, everybody. And those of you that are watching the recording, you want to stay for 20 to 30 minutes to get all the teachings here. So let's start, Ian, tell us, why is it that it seems to be that talking about, in particular, sex and money is so challenging in our culture? It's really what, in our relationship, we've done a lot of work on, and with the clients that we work with, sex and money are always the areas that seem to be full of challenge. Why do you think that is?
Well, to start with, the depressing and challenging thing is that divorce rates these days, when they do surveys, the number one reason for divorce is money, communication, and different values about money. Mm-hmm. And the number 2 reason is intimacy and sex. So, and they both go hand in hand. And we're, as a society, so clearly struggling with both those things and talking to our partners that we just let things slide. So one of the first reasons that we don't talk about sex or money is we're taught as children that expressing our needs is a bad thing. So if you think about what you were taught as a kid when you asked for something, whether it be a new bike or anything, it was, you don't deserve that, or that's, you think money grows on trees, or, did you get ridiculed or shamed because of asking for something? These are the experiences that go directly into our subconscious that we carry through the rest of our life. We start to believe that we actually don't deserve what we want. So consider your experiences, what happened to you, or what result there was in anything, whether it be family, teachers at school, whether it be church or any organization, when you asked for more or wanted more, what happened? And I guarantee you there's probably some kind of charge or feeling about asking for more and asking for what you want. What do you think about that, Shasta?
Yeah, I really want to highlight what Ian's saying, everybody, because these are things we often don't think about. And it's really that we have this subconscious pattern and this belief system in place around the idea of wanting something. Whatever your desire is, your desire to go to Barbados, your desire for better sex, your desire for whatever it is. So the first thing that happens, as Ian said, is we actually fall into this subconscious belief pattern, and guilt or shame come up for us when we start thinking even about wanting something. And that subconscious belief pattern you bring into your marriage, you bring into your all like intimate relationship and all relationships. So, as Ian has said, it's such an important aha is to really look at what were you told as a child about wanting anything. And to really look at that subconscious pattern, because it's definitely affecting, what you believe you're worthy of, but it's also going to affect how you actually communicate that with your partner. And then there's also the whole idea that most of us have not ever been taught to actually how to talk about sex and money.
Yeah, the second reason, other than the guilt and shame and asking for more, talking about sex and money, is we're taught from a very young age that you don't talk about money, you don't talk about sex, because they're the untalkables. You don't take that into a conversation anywhere. Imagine having a party with your friends and saying, I'm going to have the best sex life of anybody in the room, or the best intimate relationship with my partner. Imagine your friends or peer group or even family, what they would say to you. And then tell them you plan on being extremely wealthy, and check out their response and see what's going to happen. And most of us shut ourselves down because we're worried about what other people are going to think about what we want.
Mm-hmm. And it's, as you saying, we literally don't have the skills. I mean, I want you to also think about, how did your parents or your teachers or your friends, even in those formative years, talk about sex or money? Probably they didn't, or they talked about them in a really loaded way. There's when Ian and I do a lot of live teachings, we actually take our students through this whole inventory of what we've been told about money, and it's actually worth doing. Worth doing even after this call or this teaching, is to really look at what were you told in terms of how to talk about money or sex. And in my household, I never even got the sex talk. We didn't talk about sex at all. So it was like, what does that even look like? I have no clue on how to actually talk about what that is. And in our culture, we're so weirded out by sex. We either have these over-sexualized demonstrations, or we have this sort of like virginal, like holier than thou attitude. So it actually just makes it really challenging. And as Ian said, it's combined with these subconscious beliefs that we're inappropriate in some way by even having a desire or want, whether it's a sexual desire or a vacation desire or whatever it might be. And then the interesting thing is that those patterns then start to inform how we talk or don't talk about money and sex with our partner. In my growing up, I think about this is the pattern, right?
What was the line? What was your sex talk line?
My mom said to me, "You're a smart girl. You'll figure sex out," which was true. But what's interesting is that we take on the shadowy energy. We take on this energy of really almost expecting our partner to know what we're thinking, to know how we feel about things. And whether it's in the realm of money or sex or any area of your life, your family, your career, whatever it might be, we hear that all the time from our clients where kind of expectation is, I'm uncomfortable talking about this. I don't want to talk about it. So my partner should just know. They should know how I feel. They should figure this out for me. And it certainly was a pattern when Ian and I were first married, and we've been together for 2 decades. It was like, you should know how I feel. And what would happen is I was in a pattern because of the experience. I had a kid where we didn't talk about anything. And in fact, the message my mother gave me around money was, don't tell your father. Don't tell your father. Don't tell your father. So I grew up really poor, and my mom would kind of sneak money and sneak purchases into the house. And she had this energy of like, don't tell your father. So clearly my parents didn't talk openly about money. And I inherited this kind of like secretive, energy of always have some aside. Don't tell your partner everything. And that wreaks havoc. I mean, those are energy and patterns that can actually destroy your marriage. And there certainly was a time in our marriage where Ian and I were really struggling with this, where I didn't even have the skills or the consciousness to talk about money or sex. And then how was it for you growing up? What was, what did you bring in from that male perspective? It's always good to hear.
Well, my coaching was almost the same, but slightly different. The coaching I got around money for sure was that you made your own money. You could do what you want with it. And even in the first part of Shasta and I's relationship, we had a few confrontations over how I spent money or what we were going to do with purchases, just because we didn't talk about it. The sex thing was a little different. My dad's wisdom was, you're not in this alone. Like if you're going to have a sexual relationship or an intimate relationship with a woman, you're supposed to be there for her. That was the end of the talk. He didn't give me anything to go on after that. So it's still, you're going back to this part where it's like, she should know what she wants. She'll tell me, or I can't read her mind, for lack of a better way of putting it. So we're going back to that. He should know what he wants. The partner should know automatically what I want, which is not helpful.
So, those of you that are listening live, we'd love to hear from you. Again, below on your screen, there's a little chat box. What was the story that you had growing up around money and sex, money or sex? What did your parents model in terms of how to talk about either one of these things, or what did they tell you? As you heard from Ian and myself, that my mother was very like, you have to keep it secretive. And Ian's parents were more like, or your dad, I guess, really was, it's your money, you're the man, to do whatever you want with your money, right? And I remember early, in our marriage, Ian, I'm going to share this story. This wasn't part of our plan, but Ian went out and bought a Skidoo. And for those of you that aren't Canadian, it's like a snowmobile, right? And we had just started businesses, and we really did not have the money to go out and buy a $14,000 snowmobile. And the interesting thing was, it wasn't even for me so much about that, it was that he never discussed it with me. And what is interesting, of course, in these situations, and this may have happened to you in your relationship, or you may have been the one that did that, is it triggers the shit out of your partner. Because in this case, I was like, oh, I don't feel safe. I feel like he's doing things behind my back. And really the truth was, he just had the story that he shared with you that, growing up, where his dad really was the man of the house. It was like, you're the man, you make money, you get to do with what you want with it. Of course,
well, I remember I remember the conversation vividly that we had after I bought the snowmobile that night when I came home. And it was, the conversation went like this. It was, I was thinking about buying a Skidoo, and Shasta said, well, when were you thinking about that? And I said, oh, about 2 hours ago. So that was way early in our relationship. Communication was not high on our priority list with one another. And the problem with the communication there, I know now, was all I needed to say or get out was, this is really important to me, and this creates a space in my life for me to do the activities that I like to do in the wintertime. How can we make this work, right? Instead of just going out and ignoring the conversation.
And, this is the thing, everyone, is that, in partnership, one of the things that we really take a strong stance for, we've learned in our marriage and we've taught hundreds of people, is that really getting clear on those agreements, and understanding where is everybody? Where are they coming from? I just want to share too that one of our live watchers wrote that she had 0 stories. There really was no communication whatsoever used in the childhood mind to create beliefs around these topics. That you can imagine are very naive, limited, and limiting and immature in general. So, it's great to see this in yourself, everybody, and you don't have to be in any, guilt or shame, but what we're doing is we're making the unconscious conscious. And once you make the unconscious conscious, then you can actually start to learn new skills and learn how to actually communicate this well, and then make new agreements. And we're actually going to demonstrate, as we said, a technique of how to talk about this. So, as Ian and I have been sharing that why this can feel so challenging, and we always like to really give you the foundation of understanding before we go into technique, is, as Ian said, first off, we have usually been shamed, guilted, or made wrong as children, bless our parents, in wanting whatever we wanted, whether it was a new Barbie or a chocolate bar or dance lessons. And we bring those old stories of guilt and shame into our adult life. And the second thing, as Ian said, is that money and sex are just really charged and awkward topics in our culture. And most of us have not been taught how to even talk about them. And we're also bringing in those same inherited belief patterns from our parents. And so until we excavate these, we make, as we said, the unconscious conscious, and we learn the skill of taking responsibility and actually the skill of communication, we're just going to keep bouncing off each other. We just are pinballs. And as Ian said, money, number one reason, of course. Number one reason. And that's really tragic in the world that we live in. There's no reason that money should be the number one reason. And the second reason, intimacy and connection. This is clearly that we have an opportunity as men and women to really hone our communication skills and our money and love skills, right? So I think this is a good time. Let's tell people we are doing a live event where you can get a ton more training and mentoring like this and much more in person with Ian and I. Do you want to share those details?
Sure. We're doing our live training is going to be May 31st through June 2nd in Atlanta, Georgia. And this is a 3-day event. We're going to do a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday. And it's literally going to be packed full of information on how to invest and be the best investment you can make in your relationship. We're going to give you tools on how to create the outcomes you want, how to unleash intimacy in your relationship, how to create a work-life balance, and how to talk to your partner completely and fully about everything: money, sex, the kids, work, balance, vacations, how you want to spend your time. It's going to be a transformational weekend. We're looking forward to sharing all the tools that we've learned over the last 2 decades of being together and learning how to communicate and be on the same page with one another. So it's, I'm going to let Shasta give you the dates and the complete stuff. It's in Atlanta. Like I said, it's in Atlanta, May 31st through June 2nd, and we're pumped up about it.
Yeah, this is really an opportunity, everyone. You know, it's an opportunity to invest in yourself and your relationship. It is not a couples event. It's really learning the skills of self-responsibility, you know, as Ian said, taking control of your outcomes, so to speak, how to really be the person that can create connection and compassion, and how to be a superpower communicator. And the thing about this is, you know, we learn these skills to bring into our relationship or marriage, but the truth is these are meta skills, meaning that you bring them into every single relationship. And a lot of our clients, you know, they work with us because they want to improve the results in their marriage and their business, but they actually go on to see that all their relationships got better because they, you know, really excavated, as we've been talking about, these old patterns from you know, childhood, and stepped into what they really wanted and became a powerful communicator and a powerful person in relationship. So the event is the Rich Relationship Breakthrough, and as Ian said, it is May 31st to June 2nd. Normally we charge $3,000 for this training, which is an amazing exchange at that investment. But this weekend, we are actually, the ticket price is $997. So you're saving $2,000. So we would love for you to be there. It's an amazing investment to make in yourself, your relationship, and even your business or career, because whatever is going on in our relationship, we bring that to all areas of our life. And don't think for a second that that's not impacting your results everywhere. So you can go to, I'm going to put it in the chat, everybody, www.shastatownsend.com, and go out to the events section, and we would love to have you. We have started actually selling tickets to this. It's a smaller group. It is not a massive event. So we want to provide tons of one-on-one support and mentoring. So it's really an opportunity to work really with us quite deeply at a fraction of what our one-on-one investment rates normally are. So anyways, we would love to have you there at the Rich Relationship Breakthrough Live. Check it out. And let us move into now our demo. So we've been talking about, you know, as we said, really understanding the reasons why things can be challenging, making the unconscious conscious. This is really a part of the way that we teach always. We want people to understand who they are and why things are in place, and to give you the tools then to be free of those. And it's knowing all of that, because all of the techniques that we're often taught in relationship have to go hand in hand really with self-responsibility and really understanding who we're being. But this technique that we're about to share with you is really an amazing way of ensuring that you're being heard. So one of the things, I don't know if you've all had this experience, but you think you have communicated something, yes, and an hour or a day or a week or a year later, the person, whether it's your spouse or your child or your employee, reflects back to you what they heard, and it is completely different than what you said, and certainly completely different than what you intended to say. And this is the thing about relationship and communication, you know, is everybody's bringing their own filters to the experience. And unless we have agreements about how we're going to speak about things, and we're getting the confirmation that what we're saying is actually being heard, it becomes kind of a shit show in relationship, especially if you're talking about sex and money, which, as we've talked about, is super triggered. So this is a technique called reflective listening. And the way that it works is one person is the speaker and one person is the listener. What normally happens in any communication is basically one person is speaking and the other person is waiting for that person to shut up so that they can get their 2 cents in. Yes? Am I right?
Sometimes.
It's like a pinball. Have you ever been there where you're like, you're not really listening to what the person across from you is saying because you're thinking about what you're going to say in response. And if it's triggering in any way what you're hearing, you're also then having this emotional reaction, and you actually are generally blurting things out before we even have a chance to hear what the person has had to say. And I know that I have certainly been guilty of that, in my marriage, but also in other areas of my life. So reflective listening is really an agreement, and you can either share this recording with your partner or even just explain to them what I'm about to explain, and then Ian and I will demonstrate. It's really an agreement that one person is going to speak clearly and honestly, and the person who's listening just listens. And even if they're getting triggered or they're pissed off or they have something to say, they do not speak their piece until the speaker is absolutely complete. Why this is so important is it allows real communication. It allows people to actually feel safe, and it ensures that if you're a speaker, that you are actually being heard. And as the listener, it frees you to just listen. You don't have to be constantly evaluating. And it also helps you hold that seat of, self-responsibility, of connection and control. And really, this is, as we talked about, learning how to control your outcomes is learning how to control what's going on in here. So reflective listening. The agreement is, and you would share this with your partner. I also do this with my team and my staff, is I say, okay, we're going to do reflective listening. So we would say, I will be the speaker, or you will be the speaker, and I will be the listener. All right, so.
Ready?
Ready? Who are you going to be?
I'll be Ian.
Okay. And
I'll be the speaker this time, if that's okay.
Okay.
All right.
So Ian is the speaker. So I agree to that. So watch everybody. As the listener now, my job is to listen. His job is to speak. And we're actually, let's use this event that we're doing as an example.
Okay.
Okay. Because sometimes you want to speak to your partner about things you want to do. And we hear this all the time. People assume that their partner either is not going to be supportive of that, or they don't do it, or they just secretly do it. So let's say that this is a conversation about coming to our, we'll do subconscious advertising here. We'll do this event. So whether it's this event or any training you want to go to, you can model the behavior that we're going to do here. Okay. Now I am the listener. Okay.
Okay. Are you open to having a conversation today about an event I would like to go to?
Yes, of course.
Great. Thank you. Okay. There's an event May 31st through June 2nd. And I think it would be great for our relationship, and I'd really like to do it so that I can communicate better with you. The event is about how to talk about sex, money, everything and more, and how to be in a better relationship with you. And I think that would be invaluable to our relationship together. And it's really important to me that we do that.
Okay, I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
So one of the things the listener can do is you can stop the speaker at one point and you say this. What I hear you saying, Ian, is there's an event that you see coming up in Atlanta, May 31st to June 2nd, that you think would be beneficial to our relationship, that you really want to do. And it's how to be a better communicator, but also to build a better relationship. Do I have that correct?
Yes.
How are you?
And is there anything else?
Yes, I know we had made agreements and we talked about we wanted to renovate our kitchen and our basement. We wanted to do some things around the house, but I really think this investment in our relationship and our partnership would take us further right now than investing in the house.
So what I hear you saying is, you know that we made agreements about renovating the kitchen and doing some work in the basement, but you feel like this investment would be more important or take us further in our relationship. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is there anything else?
Well, I just wanted to let you know that sometimes I feel, even though we do have some agreements in place, I feel uncomfortable talking about money and sex with you. And I wanted to create that space in our relationship where everything is open and honest.
So that could be really triggering, right, everybody? So now watch the response. What I hear you saying is you sometimes feel uncomfortable talking about money and sex in our relationship. You would like things to be more open between us. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to learn to be a better partner for you.
Okay.
I don't know how to say it without like
Should I go look now?
feeling that
Should I go look?
guilt or shame that I wasn't already, or that I wasn't trying.
Don't.
I
What I'm hearing.
want that full
What I'm
partnership.
hearing you say is go in there, but don't
So
look.
what I hear you saying is you want a full partnership. You want to be a better partner. You don't want to feel guilt or shame. And this is important to you. Is that correct? Is there anything else?
Right, baby. Right.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And
Where's it?
then what you could do, everyone, is you can then switch. And so
Well, the scone isn't going to take a
well,
while.
I'd like to share just a little bit with you. Is that okay? Are you willing to hear me out and
Yes,
be the listener?
please.
So now I'm the speaker, he's the listener, and you literally, and I know it seems weird, but you make these agreements. And again, you can share this with your partner or whomever you need to. So I love everything that you're saying, and I'm really grateful that you spoke to me about this. And I didn't know that you felt that way, and I'm totally on board. I think that is something that, of course, I want to have a better relationship with you.
Great. So what I hear you saying is that you're on board with this training. You want to have a better relationship, more open and honest relationship, communication, and you'd like to go and do that training with me.
That's correct.
Thank you.
And that is literally how simple this can be, is we can just literally share this technique. One person is a speaker, one person is a listener, and you trade, you really trade back and forth basically. So again, this is reflective listening, one of the techniques that we teach at the Rich Relationship Breakthrough Live. We would love to have you there, and we're going to teach many, many more. And this also is one of many demos that we're going to do probably maybe bi-weekly or monthly. So we are super grateful that you've been here. And we have just a couple minutes. So those of you that are here live, is there a question, comment, aha? Was there something from today's demo and conversation that was new insight for you? So again, at the bottom, you can put your message or chat. I guess we have not had everybody muted, so I'm hoping that you all heard us okay. As I said, we're getting used to this technology, but hopefully we translated. It sounds like we did. So again, at the bottom, what was your aha from today? Or is there a question or comment that you have? You know, one of the questions that we often get from people is, you know, how do I bring this up to my partner? And it does take courage, but you're in partnership. And I guarantee that you may believe, you know, as I said to Ian, I didn't know that he felt that way, even though it was just a demo. And creating that space, having the courage, one person reaching out and saying, I'd love to have a conversation. I learned this new technique today. I think it could be really helpful for us. You know, be the door, be the open door that really invites people, invites your partner, invites your employees, your team members to have a better, better conversation and relationship with you. So those are great ways to start. And again, we want to thank everybody for watching us live. This was amazing. And it's our first demo and live event.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're super grateful for your presence and those of you that are watching the recording after as well. And we have many more. And you can also send us an email, and this recording will also be coming out. So those of you that are watching live, if you want to watch it again, there will be an email hitting your inbox in a couple hours. And if you want to ask questions through email, always just reach out to us too. You know, we're here to be of service. We're really, really grateful to share. we're really passionate about love, and we're really passionate about connection. And in our own life, what we've created, you know, as entrepreneurs, as a man and woman, once our relationship really became rock solid. So it's we want everyone to have that too. So, any closing words, my love?
I'm just really excited to see everybody in Atlanta that weekend. We're going to share so many great tools that we've learned over the years and how we created our rock solid relationship, and just how we communicate on a different plane than we did when we were first together. So that was Atlanta, May 31st to June 2nd. I'd just like to thank everybody for being here today, and anybody who listens to the recording. Now, I would say go forth, talk with your partners about money and sex and more. Give it a try with that first technique that we share.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here today. See you all soon. Have a great day.